Warwick Castle History Briefing. Warwick Castle is a medieval castle developed from an original built by William Conquer in the 168. Warwick is the country town of Warwickshire, England, situated on a bend of the River Avon. The original wooden moat and bailey castle was rebuilt in stone in the 12th century during the 100 Years' War. The facade opposite in the town was refortified, resulting in one of the most recognisable examples of the 14th century military architecture. It was used as a stronghold until the early 17th century, when it was granted to Sir Fulk Grenville by James I in 1604. Grenville converted it to a country house, and it was owned by the Grenville family, who became Earls of Warwick in 1759 until 1978, when it was bought by the Two Swords Group. The line of the Beauchamp Earls ended in 1449, when Anne de Beauchamp, 15th Countess of Warwick, died. Richard Neville, the Kingmaker, became the next Earl of Warwick through his wife's inheritance of the title. During the summer of the 1469, Neville rebelled against King Edward VI of England and imprisoned him in Warwick Castle. Neville attempted to rule in the king's name. However, constant protests by the king's supporters forced the Earl to release King Edward VI. Neville was subsequently killed in the Battle of Barnet, fighting against the king in 1471 during the Wars of the Roses. Warwick Castle then passed from Neville to his son-in-law, George Plantagenet, 1st Duke of Clarence, brother of King Edward VI. George Plantagenet was executed in 1478, and his lands passed on to his son, Edward Plantagenet, 17th Earl of Warwick. However, Edward Plantagenet was only 2 when his father died, so his lands were taken in the custody of the Crown. He was placed under attainder and so could not inherit the throne by King Henry VII of England, being held by the king for 14 years in the Tower of London until he was executed for high treason in 1499, supposedly for conspiring to escape with the pretender Perkin Warbeck. Edward was the first Earl of Warwick in the first title creation. In the early 1480s, King Richard III of England, the other son-in-law of Neville, instigated the construction of 2 gun towers, Bear and Clarence Towers, which were left unfinished on his death in 1485. With their own well and ovens, the towers were an independent stronghold from the rest of the castle, possibly in case of mutiny by the garrison. With the advent of gunpowder, the position of Keeper of the Artillery was created in 1486. Warwick Castle had fallen into decay during its age and neglect, and despite the remarks, Dudley did not indicate any repairs to the castle. Queen Elizabeth I visited the castle in 1566 during a tour of the country, and again in 1572 for 4 nights. A timber building was erected in the castle for her to stay in, and Ambrose Dudley, 3rd Earl of Warwick, left the castle to the Queen during her visits. When Ambrose Dudley died in 1590, the title of Earl of Warwick became extinct for the second time. From 1590 recorded that the castle was still in the state of disrepair. Nothing that lead had been stolen from the roofs or some of the castle buildings. including the chapel in 1601. Sir Fulk Grenville remarked that the little stone building there was might lie in decay, so as in very short time there will be nothing left but a name of Warwick. Grenville was granted Warwick Castle by King James I in 1604. While in the care of the Crown, Warwick Castle underwent repairs and renovations using about 500 loads of stone. The castle, as well as lands associated with the earldom, was in Crown care from 1478 until 1547, when they were granted to John Dudley, with the second creation of the title, the Earl of Warwick, when making his appeal for ownership of the castle. Dudley said of the castle's condition, "The castle of itself is not able to lodge a good baron with its train, for all of the other sides of the castle, with also the dungeon tower, is clearly ruinated down to the ground." In the 17th century, the grounds were turned into a garden. The castle's defences were enhanced in the 1640s to prepare the castle for action in the English Civil War. Attacked in 1264, besieged in 1642, and damaged by fire in 1871, the castle has nevertheless survived the ever-changing fortunes of history. Warwick Castle remained under the stewardship of the Earls of Warwick and later the Grenville family as a private home until 1978. The property was then taken over by the Two Swords Group, which later became Merlin Entertainments Group in 2007 and remains under their guardianship today. The records of a walled building in Warwick can be traced back to the Saxon fortification, which Ethelfreda, daughter of Alfred the Great, used to defend against the invading Danes. The first castle to appear on the site was a wooden moat and bailey constructed in 1068 at the command of William the Conqueror. Throughout the Middle Ages, under successive Earl of Warwick, the castle was gradually rebuilt in stone. The dungeon, now in ruin, standeth in the west part of the castle. There is also a tower northwest, and through it a postern gate of iron. All the principal lodgings of the castle, with the hall and chapel, lie on the south side of the castle, and here the king doth much cost in making foundations in the rocks to sustain that side of the castle, for great pieces fell out of the rock that sustained in it. Our conclusion of our visit. Our final conclusion of our visit at Warwick Castle was a mixture of great memories, as well as the most upsetting and terrifying moments some people had to go through with their time at the castle. Those memories weren't nice and felt like they shouldn't be dragged up. It was bad enough going through them years ago. Why would anyone want to revisit a terrifying and sad moment? Some of these people and energies that I picked up in the Ghoul, which is in the dungeons, had to face a terrifying moment before their death, and I felt that energy should be left alone where it is. I don't think the spirits want to remember this either. We heard footsteps at one point. The energy is there, but I think it is a scare tactic issue. If you're there on your own, I can imagine it scaring the hell out of you and leaving your hair standing up moments. The whole of Warwick has great history and energy. It is a town I will be revisiting in the near distant future. We had great fun at St Mary's Church, which I'll be uploading a case video for that too. Bear with me as I have thousands of pictures to get through. Thanks for watching. Do take care. Bye.